Welcome. We are in the second phase of TCB dictionary compilation. This phase is the phase of Ganita Upsutras applied values reach of Jyotish Vedanga. Vedas are four, and these Vedas have Vedangas, the organs, the foundational steps upon which we reach the Vedic domain. Jyotish Vedanga is one of the Vedangas. Lagad Jyotish Vedanga is the scripture. In fact, it is a pair of scriptures. It is glimpsing, visualizing, compilation and preservation of the Lagad Muni. There are two scriptures in the designation of Lagad Jyotish Vedanga. First is Rigved Lagad Jyotish Vedanga, and second is Yajurved Lagad Jyotish Vedanga. This pair of scriptures in fact make a single integrated domain. This single integrated domain is being reached at. We are initiating ourselves, we are glimpsing this integrated mathematical domain of the pair of scriptures of Lagad Muni, Jyotish Vedangas. We have begun this phase on 26th of February. You have with you all these sheets. We hope that you have been through these sheets. Let us recapitulate that the focus here is upon number value 13, as there are 13 Ganita Upsutras, and also as the Maheshwara Sutras, which are 14 in number, are in fact or having 13 Anubandhas. The Anubandha Ana of TC value 7 is of repeated frequency. Sutra 1 as well as Sutra 6 both are having Ana as Anubandha. Ana is of TC value 7. The formulation Sapt, which has simple rendering as 7, leads us to TC value Sapt as 14. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. Let us make a specific note that the Ganita mathematics, Vedic Ganita Sutras, the Vedic mathematics formulations are having a specific reach for value 7 as value 14. It is this feature which is going to play a very big role, as we know that 3 spaces having 7 geometries range, 4 spaces having 9 geometries range, 5 spaces having 11 geometries range, and 6 spaces having 13 geometries range. These 7 geometries are having distinct bodies. These are the 7 versions of cube. So hypercube 7 is of 7 versions. These are 7 distinct 3-space bodies. These 7 distinct 3-space bodies are the representative bodies of 7 geometries of 3-space. Likewise, 9 versions of hypercube of 4 are 9 distinct bodies of 4 space, and these are the respective representative regular bodies of 9 geometries of 4 space. 11 versions of hypercube 6 are 11 distinct 5 space bodies as representative regular bodies of 11 geometries range of 5 space. A step ahead, 13 versions of hypercube 6 are 13 distinct bodies of 6 space, and these are the respective representative regular bodies of 13 geometries of 6 space. See, 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13 makes it 40. And see, this value 40 is equal to 4 into 10, and it is parallel to the 40 coordinates fixation of the creative boundary of 10 components of 5 space domain. We shall have a pause here and be face to face with these organization features of 3 space, 4 space, 5 space and 6 space as hypercube 3, hypercube 4, hypercube 5 and hypercube 6, making in all 40 versions. So these are 40 geometric bodies as 7 versions of hypercube 3, 9 versions of hypercube 4, 11 versions of hypercube 5 and 13 versions of hypercube 6. These together as a set of 40 bodies get accommodated parallel to the 40 coordinates fixation of the creative boundary of 10 components of 5 space. Therefore, this organization as it is availing the transcendental format of a 5 space and the entire spectrum from 3 space to 6 space as a spectrum of 40 geometric bodies of 3, 4, 5 and 6 space simultaneously getting integrated along the creative boundary of a 5 space. It is this feature which ultimately is going to become the source foundation of the Vedic systems. Now see that these 40 coordinates, because of the 10 creative components, so a raised to power 5 is to 10, b raised to power 4 makes 11 versions, and we know that 11 into 4 makes a 44, and 40 to 44 as such is a reach of a one step ahead, one more than as 4 into 10, and it is 4 into 11. This way we see that the Eka Adhikena Purven, the first sutra, Eka Adhikena Purven, Eka Adhikena Purven, one more than before. It is the first Ganita Sutra. And see here, the first letter is A, sixth vowel value 6, and the first letter here is Pa of value 5. Therefore, this organization of this mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras as such is having inherent inbuilt of its unfolding processes in terms of, say, here as a first feature, as a first letter. So first letter of this value 5 to have a reach at a formulation of first letter of value 6. It would mean that we have to reach from 5 space to a 6 space. Now 5 space leads us to value 5 as 5 space domain, and 6 space leads us to value 6 as a 6-space domain. So we have to reach from 5 space to 6 space. As such, while we are focusing upon the compilation of a TCV dictionary, that means our focus is going to be that from transcendental domain, from the domain of a 5 space, from the domain of a 5th element, that is the Akash Tattva, space Tattva, we have to reach at the 6th element, a self-referral domain, a 6-space domain, that means at the sun, is Surya. So from space to sun is going to be the reach of this phase of exercises. So in this phase, our essential, fundamental, basic, foundational focus is as to how the Vedic systems are transiting and transforming from 5 space to a 6 space, from hypercube of 5 to hypercube 6. Now here we have seen that 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, 6 space, leading to 40 versions, 40 geometric bodies, which get accommodated along the creative boundary of 10 components. Now this creative boundary means 4 space at the boundary of a 5 space. Now when this creative boundary component takes off, then it would be dimensionalizing the outer space as a 6 space, as we know that 4 space plays the role of dimension of a 6 space. Therefore, this phase of the reach of the Vedic systems of the mathematics of Ganita Sutras takes us for a takeoff at the creative boundary of a 5 space and to have dimensionalization of the outer space as a 6 space. Let us sit comfortably and let us permit our mind to be parallel with this processing step of the Vedic systems, as that the space, a 5th element, a transcendental domain, is enveloped within a creative boundary of 10 components. This creative boundary, when takes off from the transcendental domain, then it dimensionalizes the outer space as a 6 space. Therefore now, when we are attending to second phase of compilation of a TCV dictionary, that means our attention has been as to how this space as a 5th element enveloped within a creative boundary, when takes off, then how it dimensionalizes a outer space as a 6 space, which in practical terms would mean we have to see as to how we can have a takeoff within this space for a reach at Surya, Sun, with Surya Ank as a 6, means as of a format of a 6 space format of hypercube 6 format. Now this is going to be our reach. This is going to be our visualization. It is going to be our vision. It is going to be our realization or reach expectation. Now this realization, reach, expectation of this phase in a way is firstly focusing upon the Ganita Sutras with a particular focus upon Ganita Upsutras. From here we want to reach at Jyotish Vedanga, and for it we are having a focus upon value 13 parallel to the 13 versions of hypercube 6 as a representative regular bodies of 13 geometries of a 6 space. Now this value 13 as 13 Ganita Sutras of the format of 13 versions of Hypercube 6 as 13 geometries format of a 6-space takes us to the Maheshwara Sutras, which are 14 in number, but Anubandhas are only 13. And these 13 Anubandhas, see, are taking us to the TC value 57. And it is this value 57 which is equal to 19 into 3. That means we will be reaching at a format for a value 19, which we know is the value of a southern hemisphere. So it is the northern hemisphere which is of TC value 19. And further we know that a 6 space is having 7 space in the role of a origin. Now the split, when this 7 space transcends out of a 6 space, then it leads to a split of a domain as a pair of 6 space domains, and 7 space as an origin is transcending out, making it a value 19. Let us further have a pause and recapitulate that the Vedic systems are revealing first enlightenment path of Lord Brahma multiplying as 10 Brahmas, leading to the creative boundary of a 5 space. So it is the first enlightenment path which is to be followed by the sadhakas. The second enlightenment path we have seen is of a Meru Dand, is of the Lord Skanda. We know Lord Skanda is a 6-head Lord. Lord Skanda is the son of a transcendental Lord. So it is the 6 space as an origin of a 5 space which transcends out. And which transcends out, it gives us 5 pair values plus 6, and it becomes 16. Therefore, from this value of 13 Anubandhas to value 16 is the second enlightenment path. And the third enlightenment path is the path of moving as the coordination of the 6th chakra of a human body with coordination with the sun, and in between there would be transcendence of a Divya Ganga Parvaha of 7 streams, making it is value 19. Now these 3 enlightenment features of the Vedic systems are to be availed to have a comprehension, to have an imbibing, to be a intelligence field along a consciousness base, becoming of a self-referral features. Therefore, for it we have to go sequentially with the Ganita's Upsutra 1 to the Shloka 1 of the Jyotish Vedanga. From the next session, we will be specifically taking up letter by letter, syllable by syllable, the formulation Anurupen of Ganita Upsutra 1 text and a Panch Sanvanstar Mayam Yuga Deksham Prajamatim of the Jyotish Vedanga first shloka. We will be going letter by letter, we will be going syllable by syllable, we will be having TCV values, we will be reaching at the transcendence phenomenon so that we can have a glimpse of the range of this second phase of TCV dictionary values, features and format. But here, for the present, let us recapitulate the organization of the Maheshwara Sutras, and then let us have a recapitulation of the range of hypercubes 1 to 11. Why we are saying we have to reach at hypercubes 1 to 11, as we know there are going to be the 11 versions of hypercube 5 itself. Therefore, from hypercube of 5 with its 11 versions, we will be reaching at a range of 11 hypercubes. But we know that if we are having fourfold manifestation layers of hypercubes 1 to 5, then it will be leading us to summation values 2, 6 and ultimately at 42. And we know these in the role of dimension will be sequentially leading us to values 4 as a domain for summation value 2 of hypercube 1. And at the end, at hypercube 11, we will be reaching at value 42, which as a dimension will be leading us to value 44, which is the domain in this context. And we will be confronting ourselves with value 44 when we will be seeing that Yajurved Lagad Jyotish Vedanga is a scripture of precisely 44 shlokas. So value 44, hypercubes 1 to 11, 11 versions of hypercube 5, creative boundary of 10 components of hypercube 5 being of 40 coordinates, which accommodates 7 versions of hypercube 3, 9 versions of hypercube 4, 11 versions of hypercube 5 and 13 versions of hypercube 6. This way we see that there is an integrated unfolding process inherent in the Vedic systems itself when the same is organized and chased along the transcendental domain upon a 5-space domain, that is upon value 5, that means upon the value 5 of Purvain, which is the first letter is 5. Purvain means the east, Purvain means the previous. So our previous phase and stage is going to be of value 5. Now we know here the Jyotish Vedanga is a first shloka is a Panch Sanvastar Mayam Yugadeksham Parjapatim. The first letter here is Pa, which is of TC value 5. Therefore, the Jyotish Vedanga is chase of value 5. Ganita Upsutras, as Upsutras interconnected with Sutras, as Ekadhikain Purvain as the first, is leading us to Purvain as of value 5. These features, as such, prima facie, on the face of it, at the initiation stage, at this initial stage, are bringing to focus as that the starting point is value 5 and reach is to be at value 6. Therefore, let us sit comfortably and let us permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this organization format feature of the Vedic systems, as that when we have to start from this space and we want to reach up till Surya, as sun, then our starting foundation is value 5. It is 5 space, it is a transcendental domain, it is Akash Tattva. And from here at a next step, one more than before, one more than 5, that means the value 6, that is a Suryank, that is the number of a sun, that is a 6th domain, that is hypercube 6. This is how this interconnection is to be there, which as Jyotish Vedanga is taking us to value 44 as a domain for the 42 as a dimension and as a summation value of hypercube 11. And this 11 versions of hypercube 5, 11 geometric range of a 5 space as such gives us a first glimpse of the interrelationship, coordination of the unfolding process of the Vedic systems. Now see, that if we proceed a step ahead and we want to have a focus upon a value 44, then see, if we are having values 1 to 44 and if we reach at the factors of these values 1 to 44, then these factors as such will ultimately lead us to total value 93. Means the values range 1 to 44 is having factors range 1 to 93. See, 93 is equal to 44 plus 49. Now see, these values range 1 to 44 is having additional values 49. So this value 49 as such is a value 44 plus 5. Now see, there are 44 shlokas of Yajurved Lagad Vedanga, and there are 36 values, 36 shlokas of Rigved, but out of this only 5 shlokas of Rigved are which are not included in the text of the Yajurved. Therefore, 44 shlokas of Yajurved Lagad Jyotish Vedanga plus 5 the exclusive distinctive shlokas of Rigved Lagad Jyotish Vedanga leads us to value 49. And further we know that value 49 is 77 square. See how this organization of the Vedic systems is having a parallel, simultaneous complementation and supplementing of the processing steps along the artifices of numbers as well as upon the geometric domains. It is the yoga system and it is the Sankhya system which is complementing and supplementing each other. Now see, if we are having a domain, then it splits into a pair of domains. It further splits into 5, then it further splits into 12, and at the 5th step it splits into 29, which is parallel to the TC value of formulation Brahma, the overlord of the 4th space, and it is the Prajapati. So the Prajapati, who is the Yuga Adhyaksh of Kal Purush, so the creator, the presiding deity of the creations is Lord Brahma, 4th space Lord, and reach up till this, when we see 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 12 plus 29 is equal to 49. See, 49 are the factors over and above the value 44 of the range 1 to 44, and there are 49 distinct shlokas of the pair of Jyotish Vedangas of Lagad Muni, and 49 is equal to 7 square, and value 7 sapt is having TC value 14, which is 7 plus 7. So this 7 plus 7 and 7 into 7 leading to value 63. See, this feature and this coordination, this organization, this arrangement, which is taking a takeoff from 7 geometries range of a 3 space. Let us have a pause here and let us see how the modern systems which are insisting upon a linear organization have a halt of increasing up till hypercircle 7. From hypercircle 8 onwards, there happens to be a decrease. Modern systems as have blocked the processing up till the upper limit of the 7 geometries range of a 3 space parallel to the 7 versions of F 5. So the system gets unlocked up till hypercircle 7, and transition beyond to hypercircle 8 is out of the reach of the axioms of postulates and processing steps of the linear chase of the modern system. Now, how to have a transition from hypercircle 7 ahead so that the increase is continuously flowing and is not getting blocked up till hypercircle 7. How we can transcend smoothly from artifice's value of a number 7 for a reach up till the values of a artifice of a number value 8, means how we can reach from 7 to 8. That means we have to reach from 7 versions to the 8 versions, which 8 components of a solid boundary will be enveloping 4 space. Therefore, this transaction in fact is the transition which is to be from the role of 3 space as domain enveloped within a spatial boundary of 6 dimensions leading to 7 versions to the 3 space in the role of a boundary as a solid boundary of 8 components. So it is this transition from the 3 space as a domain enveloped within a spatial boundary of 6 components leading to 7 versions. We have to transit from here to this role of a 3 space as a solid boundary of 8 components. So Vedic systems are successfully having a transition from this barrier, this upper limit of the linear progression to a spatial order for space. So the Vedic systems reach as transition from the upper limit of the linear progression to the spatial progression, from linear order to a spatial order, from 3 space as a domain to 4 space as a domain, from our Vishwa, this mundane world, to this subtle creative 4 space. With this attainment, this success, this reach, this attainment of the Vedic systems is to be glimpsed, is to be imbibed, and it is in terms of this we have to enter and to progress in the second phase of compilation of a TCV dictionary. This in real terms would mean that we, the sadhakas, the students, fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be parallel with the Vedic systems, have to sit comfortably and have to transcend, and so that our mental block, our mental state of a linear order, our mental state of being confined within a room, within a cube, we have to transcend out of this 3 space domain, and we have to take to the second phase and stage of the role of 3 space as a domain, as a 3 space as a boundary of a 4 space. It is this attainment, it is this melting of the mental state of the linear progression having a reach up till hypercircle 7s as an increased progression of 7 steps. Once we will be melting this mental state, then we will be parallel with the Vedic systems, and it is by this reach at the next step, sequentially we will be again having a melting of the mental state conditioning because of a spatial order, so that now the fourth space as a domain shall transit and transform into the role of a creative boundary of a fourth space. It is here up till which this reach from Ganita Upsutras as applied values for the Jyotish Vedanga reach is going to be the attainment. But we have not to stop here. Vedic systems doesn't stop here. Vedic systems transcend a step ahead from this role of 5 spaces, a domain enveloped within a creative boundary of 10 components, to 5 space as a transcendental boundary of 12 components of a self-referral domain. These are going to be the Dwadas Adityas. These are going to be the 12 suns. Therefore, the sadhakas are fulfilled with the intensity of urge to be parallel with the Vedic systems for a reach from a space to Surya, to the sun. So if we are having intensity of urge to glimpse, imbibe and have an attainment of the systems of a reach from space to Surya, to a sun, then we have to melt our mental state even of a solid order, and we have to reach at a creative order. It is with 4 space in the role of a dimension. So 4 space in the role of a dimension is going to be the ultimate melting phase and stage for the sadhakas who are following Ganita Upsutras for reach at the Jyotish Vedanga. We shall be from next session taking up Ganita Upsutras sutra wise and Jyotish Vedanga shloka wise, and each shloka again is to be taken up as letters, then as syllables, then as words, then as a combined mathematical domain. Therefore, it is going to be a very, very big range of steps. But those who are fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with the Vedic systems, those who are having intensity to melt their mental states of a linear progression, spatial progression, solid progression, and want to be along the creative progression, then for this creative progression, we have to approach Ganita Upsutras like Anurupe, letter-wise, then syllable-wise, then we have to reach at their TCV values, then we have to have a transcendence along the vowels availed for the composition of these letters, and many, many further steps as well when we will be reaching at the parallel geometric domains. And the geometric domains we know are unfolding themselves by melting their boundaries, and with the melting of their boundaries they will be emerging the geometric ranges of formats. Therefore, when we will be reaching up till the geometry's ranges of formats for the corresponding values of artifices or numbers, then we will be face to face with the processing steps of the Vedic systems. Thank you very much.